By all accounts, year two of the Bryce Young era for the Carolina Panthers went off a lot smoother than year one went. Even though there was some benchings, there was some moments where we weren't really sure what the Carolina Panthers were doing on offense, they still ended up having a 5-win season, which, yes, does not sound good at all, but it's a much better outcome than what the Carolina Panthers have had the last few seasons. And it seems like with what they've done in this year's free agency and leading into the NFL draft this year, the Carolina Panthers have done a much better job to put themselves in a position to win games in 2025. Starting with the guys that left the Carolina Panthers, you do have some solid players like Xavier Woods, Miles Sanders, Jordan Fuller, Velus Jones, Sam Franklin, Ian Thomas, and a few other guys as well. Some decent players, guys who had talent, but obviously not guys who were helping make Carolina into a winning franchise. Comparatively, I think their additions, namely on defense, where they were one of the worst groups in the NFL last year. Pat Jones, Trayvon Merrick, Christian Roseboom, Bobby Brown, Tershawn Wharton. These are 5 guys that you add to your team as starters, or at least as guys that are going to be consistently relied on in either the run or pass defense. And especially with guys like Patrick Jones and Trayvon Merrick, and I guess you can kind of throw Bobby Brown in there as well. These are still young guys, and these are guys who were proven on maybe not the best of defenses, but they were proven as guys who can produce and guys who can make a positive and major impact on a group. The Panthers also add Rico Dowdle to be the number 2 or number 3 running back behind Chuba Hubbard and possibly Jonathan Brooks. And that gives them a 3-headed group in that stable that can really be relied upon in both the running and passing game and gives them a multitude of options for Bryce Young. Carolina also did some good work making sure they keep some core players around their franchise through extensions, namely guys like J.C. Horn, who signed a 4-year, $100 million contract extension with the Carolina Panthers. I don't know if it was the best extension that was given out this offseason. I don't know if it was the worst one. I feel like it's somewhere in between. Like I said, Carolina has been one of the worst defenses in the NFL, not just last year, but for many years now. And for much of that time, J.C. Horn has been the number 1 cornerback of this team. I'm not saying he's contributing to this team being the worst group in the NFL, but you can't say that he's helping very much. And so just in my opinion, it doesn't seem like the best move possible, but I do kind of understand at the same time making that move. And on to the draft for Carolina, 9 picks overall. Their number 1 overall selection, obviously not number 1 overall, but number 8 overall in the first round. There is probably a real pressing need to add to either the wide receiver position or the pass rush. And I do believe that this team, I don't think that they're anywhere close to really being a contender in the NFC South. I think you already have seen that they're willing to add to the playmaker spot. I mean, you look at what they've done in the last 2 drafts. You see Bryce Young and Jonathan Mingo in 2023, and then you see Xavier Legette and Jonathan Brooks in 2024. Also throw in guys like Jatavion Sanders, who you hope produces at any level in the NFL. You now don't really have a full offense and you don't really have a full defense, but you added pieces to major weaknesses in the free agency already. And so I think the one position that's locked down is running back. The one position that is locked down is quarterback. Xavier Legette is going to garner one of the wide receiver positions. Adam Thielen's probably going to play a decent amount unless he gets traded. You kind of need you need a real burner, in my opinion, at wide receiver. And honestly, you look at what is available in the draft this year, it would probably be a reach. But I would really be interested in somebody like a Matthew Golden. And if that's not the selection, I also wouldn't be mad at possibly addressing the offensive line. I don't think they have a good one. I don't even think they have an average one. They are somewhere in between average and bottom of the pack. I would say, though, adding to the secondary is probably what the Carolina Panthers should do. You look at the safety group, it's really Trayvon Merrick, Nick Scott, and Damani Richardson. And even corner isn't really filled out either. You have J.C. Horn, Michael Jackson, Caleb Evans, Shao Smith-Wade, and Shamar Bartholomew. It's not a who's who of top tier defensive talent in the Carolina Panthers secondary. And so I think about somebody like a Will Johnson. I think about somebody like there's really a lot of guys in the secondary this year in the draft. If you want to think safety, if you want to think corner, but I also wouldn't think it's a bad idea to get a pass rusher either. It's honestly just whoever is the best player available defensively. Overall, for a grade for Carolina this year, I give them a B-. There's nothing really outstanding that Carolina did. Like I said, I think they did address some of their major needs, whether it was adding talent in the secondary or getting a better pass rush. But they still offensively really are left without a true number one receiver. They're going to be having, I don't think, a great time in the running game this year. Even though they have 3 good running backs, in my opinion, they don't have that good of an offensive line. They didn't address the tight end spot, which has been a very sore spot for this team for a long time now since Greg Olsen left. And so I think since there's still some major weaknesses, but there was a attempt to try to address some of the other weaknesses that they had, they did solid. So a B- in my opinion.